Welcome to the No Regard podcast. My name's Nathan Bleakley.
I'm Marcelo Lucha.
And welcome to the Nathan is currently dying for your viewing pleasure episode.
So a little disclaimer, right? I mean, you are sick. Tell us how you got sick, man.
Okay, so I had a great time last week. I was over at Splendor in the Grass. Absolutely killer 5 days, which is unfortunately why we weren't able to do a pod last week.
Yep.
And managed to get myself sick, so... It's been running a strong 4 days now, but I've gotten up. We gotta give the people what they want.
Yeah.
Gotta do a pod.
You gotta do a pod. It's gonna be short this week though. We gotta give you something.
And it's also it is a little bit of it is the 1st of August today, but we've been going through a pretty dry July for the sports, at least that we follow. Of course, we do want to acknowledge there is a lot going on at the moment with the Ashes, everything like that. It's just me and Marcel aren't really that good at covering the Ashes,
no.
so.
We
hope Australia, pulls out from the 2-1 test deficit.
Yeah, you were the one who taught me the rules of cricket.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I had no idea.
Look, I'm all up when they come to Australia for the Ashes. I'm all up. I'm self-professed cricket expert for like 2 weeks, and then go straight back off that.
Right.
For the
kind of like Mayweather Pacquiao, right?
Exactly. And, when I said Mayweather, it was from China, and that went down extremely well.
Pacquiao from China.
I'm still getting.
What episode was that? Was that not 1 or 2?
Episode 3. I think.
3?
Damn,
go back and watch episode 3 right now, because that is a classic. That's a no regard.
That is my all-time blooper so far, and I'm sure I have plenty to come. Anyway, we wanted to make this week sort of like a special episode because we do have one big thing coming up next week. What's that, Marcelo?
English Premier League. Yeah.
English Premier League is back. The EPL, the best league in the world.
Yep.
One of the most competitive. We're excited. We are really excited.
For sure. And it feels like the season just finished.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the best thing about Premier League. It is like a 10-month, 11-month a year kind of thing. We are constantly... Soccer never stops. And that's... brilliant for us,
for sure, because it keeps content on the pod.
I don't know about the players who literally have to keep 2-3 year runs before they can have a summer off.
Look, man, I think the hardest working player this past year was probably Alexis Sanchez.
Not going to argue with that. Had a big Copa America. Previous to that, had a big World Cup. A lot's been going on for Alexis Sanchez. And it is you wonder, especially Messi too. Players like Messi, Neymar, they don't get time off during the summer. They have to go back to their work basically soon. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. Hopefully none of them get injured. And they're able to pace themselves out throughout the season. So
I think Wenger actually came out and said that Sanchez wouldn't be playing week 1. I think I read something about that. And that would probably be a good move, right?
It would be a smart move. Exactly. And it would also give you a bit of a chance to show, the new 150,000 a week man, young... Sorry, his name escapes me. Striker for Arsenal.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
English. Theo Walcott, pardon me. Theo Walcott got himself a new 4-year contract.
I thought you were talking about a new player. That's why I was so confused.
It'll be interesting to see if Theo Walcott can earn his money and stay on the park. But, look, I like him when he's healthy. He's a great player.
That guy is quick, bro. Him and Oxlade-Chamberlain, oh my goodness.
The pace off the wings is going to be real. Anyway, we might get into it.
Let's get into it, man.
Look, it's... very interesting. A few teams coming up now this year. We've got Watford and we've got Bournemouth as well as who is the other team coming up into the Premier League? Norwich. We have Norwich coming up as well. Now Norwich did have a few seasons there where they were able to stay up.
Yep.
Fortunately, not able to stay up in the 2014 season. Now they're back. Watford and Bournemouth. It'll be interesting to see if they can stay up. It'll be a bit of a hard-fought grind to see if they can stay amongst the Premier League. But look, we don't love the Premier League for the bottom 3 sides. Yep. We love it for the top 6 or 7.
But before we get into that, man, who has the best chance to stay in the league? That's just the one question I want to ask.
Out of the relegated sides?
Yep.
I want to say Norwich. They have the Premier League nous and experience from before. They have a few good players as well. But I reckon it's going to be a bit of a crapshoot. I see none of these guys as pulling a Swansea or a Southampton as top 10 teams.
Yeah.
It'd be really surprising if they did. Look, I honestly really hope Bournemouth stays up because they're one of the best stories in football.
It's like one of your favourite teams.
I love the story behind them, and it's like someone picked them up on FIFA in League 4 and just is quietly
all the way to the Champions League. Yeah,
calling it 2018 Champions League final Bournemouth. You watch, you see.
Look, man, I agree with you on
cheeky
Norwich.
buy like Sergio Ramos next season.
I think Norwich does have the best chance. I think you're right because they do have the experience. Yeah, that's about it for relegation teams.
There's a few good players in there as well. A few of the names escape me at the moment. I'll just go through the guys that they transferred in.
Okay, let's do that.
On there, going up to the Premier League, they did get Youssef Malumbu from West Brom. So it's the typical sort of get a few Premier League standard players. They got Andre Wisdom from Liverpool. No one really making any huge smashes. Bournemouth brought in some interesting players, really, for me. Christian Atsu on loan from Chelsea. He's quick. He's
quick.
He can show some. He can.
That's it.
Better than nothing.
Hey man, it's better than nothing.
And still being distant from Everton. Like surprising, like he's not on life support of how old he is right now.
Right.
37-year-old centre back. So I don't know how many splashes you can make there. Watford might have actually made the biggest transfer bombs from what I can see. Barami from Hamburg, who is a quality player. A lot of suspect sort of players from some of the smaller leagues. That sort
suspect players.
Suspect players in the way that we haven't heard that much about them before. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do. Britos as well from Napoli, who I like as a defender. But let's get into the top teams instead of bullshitting what we know about the bottom three.
Look, man, the bottom three, they'll become relevant at some point.
They will, of course.
But not now.
Not now. Okay. So let's go maybe team by team in alphabetical order of those sort of top maybe 10, 12 teams and what we think they can do this season.
Okay.
So we typically have, as always, as first in the alphabetical order, we have the Gunners, Arsenal. What can they do this season, Marcelo? What can you see changing from perhaps what has been a trend? They haven't finished in the top two for the last 5 to 10 years.
But they came third last year?
They did come third last year. They've been coming third for a while. Third or fourth for a while.
Yep.
Arsenal always finds a way to keep them in that third or fourth sort of spot. Can they make the leap this year and really contend for the Premier League title?
Look, as of right now, as of the time of this recording, their main striker is Olivier Giroud. Okay? And for that reason only, I say no. They can't win the championship with this guy.
And there is data to back it up. You need a 20-plus goal a season striker to win the Premier League. We look back, we see Diego Costa last season for Chelsea. We see guys like Yaya Toure, even though he's not a striker, he did score 20-plus goals this season. And Sergio Aguero for Manchester City. We look back even further, we see Robin van Persie. We see Sergio Aguero in that original Man City title. We see Rooney when he scored 20-odd goals for Manchester United. You keep looking back and you see the title teams, although there is a lot more to it, they do usually need a prolific goal scorer. And look, I like Olivier Giroud. I do think he's a starting striker in the Premier League. I think he is a quality player. But I think Arsenal needs something more, a.k.a. someone like Karim Benzema, although I don't want to fodder rumours. I think he's been rumoured for them for the last few seasons. I reckon he's what they need. They need a prolific poacher, goal scorer from, one of those bigger clubs. Someone like Cavani, someone like Benzema.
I mean, it's between him and Lacazette right now. Right?
Lacazette, I think, needs one more season.
Thank you. I feel like Lacazette is a bit overrated.
And he sounds like that's what he wants to do too. And in my personal opinion, I think he's a great player. Anyone that can make that much noise at a club like Lyon is obviously, at such a young age too, is obviously doing things well. But I think he needs a little bit more time before we're trumpeting him as Arsenal needs him as a saviour.
Like as a saviour, yeah. But to your point, I mean, I've talked to some fans, Arsenal fans. We both have friends.
We love talking to Arsenal fans because we're fans of more successful clubs.
Look, they really think that Giroud can be the man for them, and they couldn't be more wrong. The guy, he's a good player, like you said, and I do like him, but comparing him to Benzema? Come on, like seriously though? Like Benzema.
A starting striker for Real Madrid. And it's not like he hasn't had challenges to that spot. Like, he has held his spot at Real Madrid for several seasons. And you could see him maybe going to Arsenal and maybe making some noise there. And there was rumours that he might do it this season. I hope it comes off, especially because show that Chelsea hopefully have some competition, even though
Look, we don't like to deal in hypotheticals here, but hypothetically, if they do sign Karim Benzema, they just signed Peter Cech from Chelsea, which was a great signing. We said that weeks ago.
that has been one of my favorite. That's been my favorite goalkeeper signing to the Premier League. Look, I went to go see him earlier in the year. I think he's definitely still got it. Yep. He's still a top 10 goalkeeper in the world easily. Look, I'm keen to see what he does at Arsenal because.
So, with him and Benzema, though, what do you think?
For me, of course, they still have a great centre-back in Cole Chesney, but I think Czech will definitely still have his work cut out for him on the defensive end to try and make a few stops.
Yep.
But look, he's a definite upgrade from Chesney. I'm not very sure on the pronunciation with his name.
Yeah, Wojciech Szczesny, I think it is.
And then, look, I think if they get both of them, they're a very good chance because you have Benzema being supplied by one of the best attacking midfields in the world. You've got Ramsey, you've got Özil, you've got Kurzawa, you've got Wilshere, you've got...
Wilshere sucks, though.
I knew as soon as I mentioned the name Wilshere. You got Wilshere, you got Oxlade-Chamberlain, you have Walcott there, and the list just goes on. They have a really good attacking side, especially if they can get someone to clinically finish off the plays that we know they can make. With Benzema as a clinical striker, they might be the best attacking force in the Premier League. There'll obviously be other sides that are contending for that title, but I honestly think if they get a clinical finisher...
Are they number one?
Are they number one? No.
You don't think so? Because I think so.
Even with Benzema, they're not the best side in the Premier League.
You don't think so? Damn, man, I disagree with you completely. I reckon with Benzema, they're number one.
Oh, they're top two.
No, but they're number one for me. I think they win it. Okay. So, honestly,
So, get some moves on that so-called funds you have in the bank, Arsene Wenger.
250 million reportedly, right?
That can sign Benzema. You can sign Benzema
times. For You can sell him, buy him again with that kind of money. I mean, he's not going to fish out $100 million like some other players. You could even buy Lacazette and Benzema. Why not?
And look, that'd be a great strike force. Right now, they're going to have to deal with the Giroud right now. Look, if he stays on the park, and I reckon he can maybe take a leap, because he hasn't really had a great healthy season, Arsenal. If he has a healthy season, he could be better than what we're both expecting.
Yeah.
But, it may not be.
Because he could score more than 20 goals. I can see that.
Oh, definitely. If he's on the park for 35 of the games... Yeah. He'll score 20 goals.
So he misses 3 games, you reckon?
Well, starting 35 games. I reckon they'll want to, maybe experiment a bit. I say try Walcott at striker again. Because they did try that, I think, 3 seasons ago. And I remember it being a pretty good success. It's just Walcott can't stay on the park. And look, he's a one-dimensional player. I'm not going to argue with that. He hasn't developed in 5 years. But it's worth trying him at centre forward. Just experiment. If you're not going to buy a good striker, experiment what you've got. Cause
he did experiment with Alexis Sanchez last season.
Look, Sanchez is someone you've got to build around. You play him where you're comfortable, and then everything else falls in around that. Yeah. You play Sanchez where he wants to be played, then build your side around that. Because Sanchez was, for a lot of last season, Arsenal's easily best player, and might have even been carrying the team at certain points.
Oh, he was, for sure.
Yeah.
I think I disagree with you on their best player, though. I think his form obviously was the best, but I think still Ozil is still the better player.
Ozil has, in my opinion, performed slightly under expectations at Arsenal, and that's maybe because the conditions in which he's been asked to perform haven't been as natural for him as he was at Real Madrid. If he plays to potential at the 10 spot with Sanchez on the right, someone brilliant on the left, maybe like Kurzawa, maybe like Oxlade-Chamberlain, maybe like Theo Walcott, they're backed up at the back with a solid defence. Maybe get some more time out of Coquelin, see if he develops at that defensive spot. That's a really good midfield, man. I'm really happy. Look, if I was an Arsenal fan.
It's a good midfield, but can we just talk about Ramsey and Cazorla for a second?
Yeah.
Because Aaron Ramsey, for me, is one of the best players on that team.
One of the best, and that's the thing. They're embarrassed for riches at that attacking midfield spot. So you really have to start defining some roles and not just throwing the chips where they may.
No, look, I think you've got it right. I think Cazorla, Ozil, and Ramsey have to start. Like that's
Oh yeah.
that's just like you can't budge that. But when you start putting Cazorla in like the great category, I don't know about that, man. Because obviously he came
He's
from
shown flashes
Villarreal,
of it, but yeah.
and he's not in the Spanish squad. Okay, you got to remember that. And I know that the Spain squad has a lot of really good midfielders, but this guy hasn't seen a start in God knows how long. Okay, he must have seen a start in like a friendly somewhere. You know, I don't even know if he was in the World Cup squad. I don't even literally I don't know for a fact if he was in the World Cup squad. I don't know if he was in the Euro winning squad.
Well, God knows that Spanish World Cup squad needed to change something.
Or the World Cup winning squad, you know? So the guy's a good player, but I think that is a weakness for them. Oh, yeah. It really is. But I really like what Aaron Ramsey's doing. I think he is a future captain of Arsenal.
We'll go through our Premier League rankings later, by the way, on who we think where they'll fall. But
yeah,
overall, we think Arsenal top 4 again.
Yeah,
Champions League.
I'd probably say top 3.
What do you think quickly about their Champions League prospects? How deep do you think it'll go? In my opinion, round of 16. Maybe best of quarterfinals.
Best quarterfinals.
Like
there's just too many good teams in Europe.
Look,
man.
They're amazing. I want to quickly mention Aston Villa too.
Mm-hmm.
They've lost Fabian Delph to Manchester City.
Mm-hmm.
They've lost Christian Benteke to Liverpool.
I think that was the bigger loss, to be honest.
In my opinion, yes, because he did come back last season out from an injury, and he did score maybe. I think it was like 10 goals in maybe 15 matches.
The guy's a beast, man.
I honestly love him in terms of just a powerful...
Compete in any league.
Yeah. He's Drogba's next spirit animal in the terms of striker that he is.
Whatever happened to Lukaku, bro?
Lukaku, man, that makes me sad. Damn, Lukaku was good when in that first season at Everton, or even that season at West Brom.
He was fun to watch, eh?
Dude,
dominant.
I have no lost feelings now that we have Diego Costa, but there was a point where we had Torres and all them, and we could have used Lukaku. We could have used Lukaku.
Because you guys had Edo for a while, didn't you?
And we had Edo and Torres and just a collection of strikers where we could have just used Lukaku for a season, but Mourinho didn't want to put the trust in him. And obviously that's come off in the long term because we bought Costa. It's come off well, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. But where do you think Aston Villa falls without their 2 best players now? And looking through their transfers, they haven't really got anyone huge. They got Scott Sinclair, they've got Jordan Ayew. Both quality players, but in my opinion, not on the level of Delph or Benteke.
I don't even need to look at the transfers. They're not making top 10.
No way. In my opinion, they'll be scrapping to stay up. They will stay up. They will stay up. They were scrapping last season, even with those 2 players. So, in my opinion, Aston Villa, they'll be scrapping to stay up. I reckon
bottom 5,
15th, 16th.
Wow. Okay.
They will be. We'll be worried about them till May.
I mean, I've got them top 15, but barely. So,
my mention are the right team now. The team we know will do all the right things. Chelsea Football Club. It makes me
go on, Nathan. I'm just going to let you talk.
It makes me excited to talk about Chelsea Football Club this season because they're going to play really, really good football. We finally have continuity at this club with Mourinho coming on for his 3rd season. We also have hardly any transfers going to or from. We have Courtois, we have Cahill, we have Terry, we have Zuma, we have Luiz, Aspilicueta.
Thank you.
Sorry. Ivanovic, and then in the midfield, Fabregas, Matic, Eden Hazard. The only position I'm a little worried about is right midfield, but we've been worried about that for the last 5 years.
Who do you have there right now?
Willian, I still see starting. And that's the thing.
That is shaky.
Yeah, because you have Cuadrado, and he seems like he's out the door. We really need a strong player in right midfield, so I reckon he'll experiment a bit. Hopefully with some of the young players, because we have arguably one of the best, some of the best youth players coming up through Europe. So I'd love to see some experimentation through the right midfield this season. At attack, we have Oscar.
I love Oscar, man.
I love Oscar. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. And then obviously the striker, Diego Costa, with an interesting backup now in Radamel Falcao, who is really on his last legs as a star player.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. He's obviously got a place in Europe. He's still got a place in Europe, but damn, he needs a revival season. And he won't be starting for me early on.
No.
But It'd be interesting to see he get some runs in some cup games. He puts some runs on the board. He comes off as a super sub, sort of. Maybe scores a few goals. I think, honestly, we could see a good season from Falcao now that the expectations are lower. What's being asked of him is less.
Yeah.
But he's also around a winning atmosphere. He's around teammates that could possibly make him better.
Definitely make him better, for sure.
He's with some of his former Atletico Madrid teammates. And, this could spell a real revival season for me from Radamel Falcao.
Look, the only problem with that is I see Diego Costa as being one of the elite strikers in the world.
He's not displacing him, doesn't matter how good he plays.
Right. But, here's the thing, right? In situations where cup games are 1-1 or it's 2-2 with, some lower teams and Falcao starting, suddenly Mourinho's got to take him off, man. And that's not going to do wonders for his confidence. Okay? Even if it's not just him playing poorly. Okay? You're going to put in Diego Costa because you want him to save the game. And honestly, I can't see him gaining his confidence in a situation like that. I do agree with you. He could get some goals and he could play well.
But then again, you're playing with Eden Hazard as opposed to a disgruntled Andrea Di Maria or anything like that.
Look, I
feel like you're coming into a very continuity atmosphere in Chelsea for once. You're coming into a system that's already in place, a manager that knows how to get the best out of strikers.
Best thing that can happen for him, and God forbid this doesn't happen, is Diego Costa being injured. I mean, honestly, though.
But I would like to see him getting that smaller role early on and possibly seeing where that goes for him. Look, I personally think he can do good things at Chelsea, but I couldn't give you a goal tally because I don't know how many Premier League games he'll play or start in. But I reckon we'll see a lot of things off the bench for him.
Yeah.
We didn't see a great Copa America for him. It was actually pretty substandard.
The whole team played pretty poorly. Colombia.
Yeah, we had big expectations for that Colombia team, given the World Cup they threw in, given all that sort of stuff. Now they're getting Falcao back, but it'll be interesting to see how Falcao season go. For me, there's not much that's changed from last season.
Do you have them winning?
I do have them winning again. Look, they've got the best manager in the Premier League.
Maybe in the world.
One of the best midfields and striker combinations in the world. The best defense in the Premier League with the best goalkeeper in the Premier League.
They have the best player in the Premier League too.
Exactly.
You need Eden Hazard.
They're just strong in so many areas. You're going to continue that through from last season. If you're worried about maybe Terry's age, look, we've got some great backups behind him. We've got Zuma, who I honestly think with Cahill, that's a great centre-back combination already. I see Chelsea winning the Premier League again. It might be a bit closer than the last season, but they'll get their second consecutive Premier League, and we will see a much better Champions League campaign from this better side. I see semi-finals.
Okay, before we get into Champions League, I do agree with you. They do win, unless obviously Arsenal sign Benzema.
But anything can happen in a 10-month Premier League season. Okay. That's the best part about it.
But for now, yes, they are champions. And as for Champions League, I feel like Real Madrid aren't going to be that great this season.
You don't feel like it, do you?
And I really think
Benitez knows how to win a Champions League, though.
Look, I think Bayern's taken a step back. Juventus has obviously taken a step back. PSG aren't going to compete.
Will we see the first consecutive Champions League?
No.
No, you don't think Barca can do it again?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
That's why I've got Chelsea in the final.
Ooh.
I reckon I would look up the odds for that and I would lock that in. I would put a tenner on that for sure. I reckon Chelsea definitely makes
a quick peek at me sports
Champions League final. Man, they are that good, and all the other teams have gotten worse.
Exactly.
Barca stayed the same pretty much.
It's going to be interesting to see. Pep Guardiola's on his last year on his contract at Bayern Munich, so it will be interesting. I don't want to stray too far from the Premier League, but they did make a good signing in Vidal, but they did lose Bastian Schweinsteiger to a team we might mention later in the pod. Overall, we have high hopes for Chelsea, and I imagine we're both picking them to win the Premier League.
Look, anything less than a championship this season is a crappy season.
It's title or bust.
Yeah.
Let's move on to another team that I think made a very good transfer. They have a good manager. This will be a good season for Crystal Palace.
You love the signing, hey? Cabaye?
Johan Cabaye, man. I loved that 2012 Newcastle team with him at the crux of that team. And he's come back to the Premier League, finally. He didn't have a great run at PSG. He's come back, Crystal Palace. He'll be a great cog for that midfield with Mile Jedinak. Jedinak, pardon me.
No. Look, speaking of Jedinak, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, like, if people know who he is, because like he's not a superstar,
but
he's not like
he's a grinder. And we love grinders.
Look, and if you think Socceroos, you think Tim Cahill, you know? Like, old time, you think Harry Kewell or, like, whatever, right? But this guy, man.
This guy's getting the work done as the captain of the Socceroos.
He's the key. And at Crystal Palace, he's a really good player.
Yeah.
He was ranked, like, #1 midfielder in the world by some stupid statistics
But that just
report.
shows, like, even if you're getting rankings extremely wrong, the fact that an argument can be made for him. You know, that's good stuff. Like, we love supporting our Australians here on the pod.
Man. Is it Mille or Mile, by the way?
I honestly think with this, it's I think it's Mille. Mille Jedinak, and I said Miles Jedinak. Damn. I honestly think top 10 finish this season.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And by top 10, I mean like 9th or 10th.
Yeah, 9th or 10th.
Top 10 finish this season. They did do some great things, and they did come 10th last season under the leadership of good old Alan Pardew. So, is he still their manager this season? I'm
not sure.
Oh,
I don't know. We might have to look at that.
But regardless of their manager, they have a good young squad with some great leadership there, and guys like Johan Cabaye as well as Mille Jedinak.
Yeah.
Top 10 finish. Everton. Disappointing season last season.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see what Robert Martinez can do, because we saw him win the FA Cup with Wigan.
Look, he's a great coach.
He's a great coach. He plays attractive attacking football with Everton. They got Delfu on a permanent one, the Barcelona prospect.
Yep. He's a winger, and
I see them around 8th. I don't really see them making too much noise. They're not going to have one of their great seasons where they're challenging for the Champions League. They didn't make too many big moves, unless we see some huge leap out of one of your favourite players, Ross Barkley.
I was hoping you'd get to it, because I was going to butt into you.
I honestly think he is the future of the English midfield in the attacking spot. He didn't get on the park too often last season, which was a shame. But if he can stay on the park for the entire season, we will see big things out of Ross Barkley.
Look, Ross Barkley is your traditional box-to-box midfielder. Does everything well, passes well, shoots well, is tough. I don't want to say he's dirty, but he puts in really hard challenges. He's a throwback to the
former tough English midfielder.
But he's got this new prototypical, like, tactical awareness about him. It's rare to see. You know, I think we saw it in Wilshere, although he's dropped in form so much, but Wilshere had that, like, kind of.
And they also have Lukaku, who had a bit of a disappointing season last season, but we'll see if Lukaku can click, Barkley can click.
Look, Ross, he could be like mega transfer this summer if he plays well.
I hope he stays. Like, I honestly love when English players stay in the Premier League. But yeah, he could really make a name for himself.
Yeah.
Quickly, just want to mention Leicester.
I ain't got nothing to say about these guys. You can go on, bro.
Cambiasso left. They're a bottom 10 team. There's nothing more you can say about them, really. They might even go down.
It is what it is.
Liverpool. What do you think? Some good signings this season in Christian Benteke.
They're not top 5 for me, though.
They are not top 5 for me.
I think they come 6th or 7th. I think Spurs have them.
They've signed Nathaniel Klein at right back, who I like. James Milner, quite nice signing.
Yeah, it's a good signing.
Christian Benteke, good signing. Robert Firmino, good signing.
I don't know about that. I mean,
I reckon he'll do some good stuff, maybe on the left wing. But all in all, maybe 6th.
I've got them 6th or 7th. I'm torn between which position to put them in. But at the end of the day, they're going to be fighting for a Europa League spot, not a Champions League spot.
It'll be interesting where they finish at the end of the season with their new manager too.
Yeah. Damn, this is a pretty cold prediction, man.
We'll get to that later.
Wait, no. Do you want to address that now, or do you want to do it later?
Brendan Rodgers will be the first manager out the door this season for the big club. For the big clubs.
He might even be the first man under the whole league.
He might. There's a huge pressure on him. Some of it justified, some of it not. Either way, the heat's on. They'll perform below expected in the first 6 weeks because you'll need time for Firmino, Benteke, James Milner, Nathaniel Klein to all click in that starting 11, and he'll cop the blame for it.
You know who I do like though? Jordan Henderson.
Yes,
He's a really good player, man. I really like him.
Yeah, no, he's come along in leaps and bounds last season. He's going to be a good sort of like kingpin for that midfield. Yeah, he's actually come a long way. He's surpassed expectations for what I thought he'd do in his career.
And I feel like he's the kind of player that'll stay too.
Yeah.
Like,
well, he's the new captain. So.
Exactly, right? So, like, he's like a 15-year project, man.
Exactly.
So, good times for Liverpool right now. In terms of Jordan Henderson. But in terms
everything else,
I don't know, man.
Look, no Champions League for Liverpool in the near future. Man City.
I've got them finishing third.
I've got them finishing second.
Okay.
Look, as usual with Manchester City, they have the resources. It's about everyone staying on the park. Like, if you could finally get a full season out of Aguero, notably, he didn't get a full season last season, still scored 26 goals.
Yeah.
Like,
the guy's an animal.
The best striker in the Premier League when healthy.
Yeah, I agree.
We kind of need a revival out of a few guys, like maybe like Semyon Isri. That cold is really like screwed up.
Yeah, you're gonna have to excuse Nathan with the pronunciation. Yeah. You guys will be fine with it though. You know what he's talking about.
Yaya Toure. Like, we need a revival out of a few of those guys. They did sign a few interesting signings, like guys like Raheem Sterling, Fabian Delph. What do you think?
Look,
they kind of just went for continuity. They didn't make many big splashes besides the Sterling signing. I don't see Sterling as a top 5 impact player for them yet.
No, I don't think so. Anyway, you touched on Samir Nasri. Look, he's been pretty much riding the bench ever since he got there, right? For me, the worst career move he ever made was leaving Arsenal because he was a beast there. Okay, that connection that he had there with everyone when he was feeding Arshavin, I mean, that was amazing to watch. But at City, really, the key is Yaya Toure. Let's be honest, right?
We need a better season out of Yaya Toure if they want any prospect of winning the title.
Yeah.
Look, their defence is always going to be pretty solid. Like, they have Company, one of the best centre-backs in the world, went on form. You have that interesting full-back combination, as usual, with, Kolarov and Clichy and Micah Richards when he's healthy. Like, Bakary Sandra.
Michael Richards is left, though.
Has he?
I think he's at Watford now, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. I like Kolarov, though.
Yeah,
man, he can hit a free kick, too.
Damn. It's really interesting when they line up for free kicks at Man City. Obviously, if David Silva has a good season, big things can happen. Look, and Joe Hart as well, obviously one of the best 3 keepers in the Premier League, as usual.
Maybe even in the world, man.
That
guy is so good.
When on form, he is intimidating at that spot. But there's not much I really want to say about Manchester City.
I can't see them winning, though.
They're a top 3 team, but I don't see them overtaking Chelsea quite yet.
No, I see Arsenal doing better than them, to be honest.
That's a good pick. I reckon they're waiting out on that last season of Guardiola's contract to kind of finish up so they can make a big move. We'll give you $100 million to coach our team.
The most unlimited budget ever.
No, literally. I reckon if Manchester City tries and offers a contract to Pep Guardiola,
reckon he could do well?
I reckon it'll be the biggest managerial contract the Premier League has ever seen.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, they've got the money for it.
They have.
Guardiola's got the pedigree. Put one and one together, man.
Now we look over the road at Manchester. Look at Manchester United. We saw a revival last season.
This is the team I was most excited to discuss with you, bro. Because United have made the best signings in years. Like, no one has had a better transfer market than them in ages.
And they've shored up that... Look, we've criticised their midfield before when they were being shored up by Darren Fletcher and obviously still players, but... Michael Carrick.
He's a good player, but he's not great. You know, he's not Champions League
not when you want to
standard.
Not what you want to win the league with. If you're not being coached by Sir Alex Ferguson, that is.
So they signed Schweinsteiger. They signed Schneiderlin.
Yeah.
Now I can't even tell you which signing is better because I think Schweinsteiger is the better player, but my God, Schneiderlin
is good. He's going to shore up that defensive midfielder really, really well, and he can poach a goal or two too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
look, let's be honest, you probably have Di Maria on the out. And you've already had other players leave that are probably a bit over the hill, like Robin Van Persie, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what that does, though? It lets you play a certain English player and a striker. That's
the most underrated English player in the world, Wayne Rooney.
He needs to be played. Look, we need to campaign for this. We will start an online trend. Yeah. Rooney has to play striker. Rooney has to play striker. Rooney has to play striker. The seasons that he made more than 25 starts at strikers in the last 5 years, do you know how many goals he scored?
How many has he scored now?
25 plus. 26 and 27 goals.
There it is, man.
He is a monster when he starts up front. Look, he's good at everything. He's amazing how versatile of a player he is.
Yeah.
But his best work is done up front.
Yeah.
And he is still good enough to be played up front for Manchester United.
Yeah, and I'm tired of people criticising that. He doesn't score enough goals. He hasn't been good in years. Are you kidding me?
That's because he hasn't been playing.
Exactly. Yeah, you just don't watch games.
I think
if
he
you say
got 14 starts at striker last year, and he scored. He had a double-digit goal return in those games. You need to play it there. Louis van Gaal, there is still some good talent at Manchester United to mention as well. But look, they've shored up their midfield quite a bit. I think their defense is still really suspect, especially if De Gea leaves. Now, this is the big thing. Does De Gea play another season at Manchester United and then leave for free at the end of his contract? Or do they try and sell him off now?
I feel like... I don't know what they want to do. But if you had asked me this a month ago, I would have told you De Gea's leaving for sure.
And now we don't know.
Now...
They bought Romero, who is the Argentinian national team striker, but he has nothing on De Gea.
Yeah, the goalkeeper. Yeah, I mean, he's got nothing on De Gea whatsoever.
De Gea was easily the best, well, with Courtois, the best goalkeeper of the league last season.
Is Valdez still there?
Valdez might still be there, yeah.
Might still be there. So, they've got backups.
They've got backups, but look, if they could keep De Gea one more season, they could challenge for a top 3 spot.
Yeah. I've got them
fringe top 4.
I've got them fourth, yeah. They might even be better than City at the end of the year, man. I mean, we talked about how good this team is, how good the signings were.
Exactly.
If they can stay healthy, they keep De Gea, pieces fall into the puzzle, bro. Like, injuries here or there, man. I reckon United could really crack top 3 this season. And it would be good for Van Gaal.
It's good for the whole league when United does well.
Yeah.
As much as we hate them, like...
I don't hate them. Damn.
Chelsea supporter, sorry. That just got out of me there. It's good for the league when United does well. So it's going to be good to see them in the Champions League again, as well as doing some good stuff in the Premier League.
Yeah.
We look at some other teams. Newcastle United.
Top 10, for sure. I think so.
12th or 11th.
Really? You think so?
Because for me...
See, I had them in that 9th or 10th spot.
Look, they're good. They're really good. They're always... But I still remember when they came 5th. That one season, and they just killed it.
Look, man, Nathan always talks about this, so I'm going to let you go.
That one season where they got career best seasons out of Johan Goodbye, Ben Arfa, Tidiote, guys like... pardon me. They had Colaccini or whatever.
Colaccini?
Yeah, the Argentinian centre-back. Tim Krul, they got 6 career best seasons out of almost everyone in that starting 11.
Yep.
Alan Partridge got an 8-year deal for that season, which was the stupidest thing I've ever seen when he fucked it up the next season. Oh, bleep that out on the pod.
You can swear on the pod, Nathan. We've sworn every week. What are you talking about?
We got that iTunes subscription. We can't swear.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Come on now, Nate. Let's keep going.
Look, Newcastle will do better than last season because they were honestly abysmal last season. When a club like as big as Newcastle United, with one of the best stadiums in England, with the St James's Park, should not be challenging for relegation. They should be challenging for that top 10 spot, which I think they'll do this season. There's just a toxic culture around that club these last few seasons, man. So,
you said it, man. That's all you got to say about that, man.
So hopefully they can do something to break that, but I'm feeling for Newcastle fans right now.
Yeah.
It's tough times, bro.
Tough times. You wouldn't know anything about that, though.
No, I wouldn't. I'm just a Chelsea fan.
Shit, I can't talk either, can I?
Barcelona fan. Tough times for you as coming second and going down the semis and Champions League final. Southampton.
They lost They're good players, man. That's
Schneiderlin, it's tough when that kind of player leaves.
But you know what? I still feel like they can.
I still feel like that. I still feel like they always find a way. They lose it. They get poached. They come back and they.
Poached is a perfect word for it. Yeah, I mean
they get poached because they have great players and they have a great setup.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what they do.
I think Arsenal has like half their squad. No BS. Like no word of a lie.
Same with Liverpool.
Yeah.
Southampton, great team. They will come out top 10, 10th maybe. I don't see the same sort of hard going we saw last season when they held the Champions League spot for half the season, but they'll still be really good.
I agree with you.
There's optimism about that club.
Yeah, there's optimism there.
I love seeing what that club can do.
I can't see them making top 6.
Speaking of newfound optimism for clubs, Stoke picking up some Barcelona players like
look, man,
Afellay, they picked up for free. They picked up Glenn Johnson. They're on loan for Van Ginkel, who I think has done some great things out on loan from Chelsea, and he's gone loan again to Stoke.
Yep.
I honestly see them maybe 12th, 11th, maybe 10th.
Look, playing at Stoke is obviously, like, we've seen, like, the internet react to it, you know, like, it's probably one of the toughest home grounds to play at, but...
Can he do it on a cold wet night at Stoke?
It's maybe top 10? Maybe, man.
There's a lot of teams, like, in that mid-table that might push this season. But we don't really see anyone making a surprise Champions League performance, really.
No, and I can't see them making Europa League either, unfortunately.
Any real words about Sunderland? I see maybe relegation battlers.
Bottom 7.
Swansea?
No, Swansea's going to be top 10.
No, Swansea will be top 10.
Swansea's definitely
Great
top 10.
move in getting Andre Ayew from Marseille. Look, they've still got that the good attacking football we like to see from Swansea. So, look, they'll be top 10.
Yeah, I might even have them like 8th or 7th.
Damn.
Like above Everton, I'm talking. Like
I could see that.
This team's really good, man.
Let's move on to probably the last big team that we could talk about.
Okay.
Tottenham Hotspur. What can they do this season?
Look, I really like Spurs, man. I like the team. You know, White Hart Lane's a pretty cool stadium.
See a strong 5th this season?
Yeah. Simply put, yes. Tottenham
and I think it'll all be about the wonder kid this season. Harry Kane. Do you think he can push 30 goals this season? He scored 21 last season. Do you reckon he'll score more?
No. Only because you got to remember the start, like earlier in the season, the defenses weren't paying too much attention to him. Now there's a big light there, you know.
Trap.
Like, there's going to be 2 or 3 players on him at all times.
I see him breaking through a score of about 25.
Yeah. Me too. I see him scoring more than last season, but he's not going to crack 30, man. I don't think so.
Well, I think it'll just be more. He'll be the focal point of that admittedly lamentable Spurs offense. So it'll be interesting.
Spurs are always such a weird team because they've got the talent, and by the end of the season, they've always got superstars rising up in their team.
Yeah.
Then somehow, some way, they lose them, or they just get shit. And
they try.
No, but let's be honest, right?
Yeah,
like
fair enough.
it's just drops in form and inconsistency that just hinders this team. But maybe what I wanted to touch on, Harry Kane staying, is that maybe a change of ways for Tottenham? Because what if he's loyal? What if he stays?
It's different.
Like, what if they don't sell it, man?
To me, in any sport, if a player comes out of nowhere and has one breakout season, you always want to see a second one in a row. Because there's a lot of times where they have one breakout season and they still stay at a really high level, but it won't quite be another breakthrough after that. So it'll be interesting whether he goes
Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin.
Yeah, but that was more like a freak of nature, like 2 months where, like, I think D'Antoni was just running his whole offense through Jeremy Lin when he had Carmelo Anthony. Different basketball. We got to mention basketball.
Sorry.
We're like contractually obligated to mention basketball in every pod.
It says it in the agreement. I'm sorry, guys.
We signed it and we made it and signed it ourselves.
Yeah.
Quick. What do you think, Tottenham? 5th?
5th. A
Good
strong
season
5th.
Strong 5th. We'll get a good season out of Harry Kane again.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see whether Christian Eriksen can finally live up to his potential as a great number 10.
Look, man, when he played at Ajax, I mean,
He
was good.
He was mentioned with guys like Goetze and like Lucas, like that sort of generation of prospects were really strong.
And you know what? All 3 of those players that you just mentioned,
All
Lucas, Goetze, and
Eriksen,
they were all disappointed.
They all have.
And I know Götze scored the winning goal in that
and then
final.
clutch, Pogba gets waived by Man United and then like becomes like the player of that generation.
Look, man, if United had kept him, can you imagine that midfield now? Pogba, Schneiderlin, Schweinsteiger.
It's interesting to see though if they. I don't think Ferguson would have put the faith in him that he got at Juventus. It's something just saying what ifs and what could have been.
But Ferguson left.
He did.
So I mean, Van Gaal might have seen something. We never know. That's going to be a huge loss for United, man.
Oh, definitely. Okay, so we're going to talk about also just to quickly want to mention Watford, West Brom, bottom 10 teams.
Yeah.
That's all we really need to say.
Oh, actually, I see West Brom staying, though.
They're in bottom 10.
No, yeah, well,
Yeah,
they're staying in the league, though. They're not going to get relegated.
And West Ham, look, I'm interested. They finally fired Big Sammy Allardyce. By finally, damn.
Oh, about fucking time, eh?
And they really short up their back four with Ogbonna from Juventus.
Look, we love this.
We love this Ogbonna, as well as Jenkinson on loan, who I think is a serviceable right back, especially for a team like West Ham. Look, you still got Carroll as shoring up that offense, so I don't know what's going to really happen with that. But
hey, you never know. Andy Carroll's all right, man. He's like a classic English striker, just like.
If he can have a revival season with that sort of setup in West Ham, where it is a lot of crossing into Carroll, we could see maybe a 15-plus goal season out of Carroll.
Maybe 20. You never know.
You never know. It does also depend on what the system sets up around him. So that's basically our team-by-team preview. Did you want to quickly mention your ranking? Because I didn't know a ranking. I'll say whether I agree or disagree.
Look, I think pretty much I'll do top 5, right?
Top 5.
Like Chelsea, number 1. Okay, I've got Arsenal second.
Actually, after this preview, I'll agree with you. I see Arsenal stronger than both the Manchester clubs.
Look, and I know you're going to disagree with this. United third.
I disagree. I think we're going to swap around the.
So you've got City third?
I've got City third and United fourth again.
Okay, so I've got City fourth and Spurs fifth, man. That's going to be it.
I agree.
Liverpool sixth, probably Everton or Swansea seventh.
Or even Southampton.
Maybe even Southampton.
They do. It will be a very interesting season.
We're keen for it, man.
We're excited,
we're
man. We're excited.
For this, man.
And that'll do for our Premier League preview. I wanted to quickly bring up a question of the week that kind of... Actually, just before we do that, we'll just give out some awards first. Who do you think will be top scorer this season in the Premier League?
Money is on Diego Costa.
Agreed. In that system, he gets on the park for the whole season. I see maybe a 25 to 30 goal season for Costa.
Easy 28, I reckon. Yep.
Top assist man?
I'm not going to say Schweinsteiger because he's not a stat stuffer. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say Cazorla or Ozil or Silva. It's going to have to be the man that won it last year, man.
Fabregas.
Francesc Fabregas.
For me, it could be Fabregas or it could be Hazard.
No. I feel like Hazard is more of an offensive option. I feel like you played through him and he finishes more.
Yeah.
But Fabregas is more like receive, lay off, and Diego Costa's got a one-on-one.
And the amount of options he has in that like attacking part of the ground now is pretty hardcore.
And if Falcao plays well, I mean, that's another 10 assists for Fabregas.
Oh,
you know what
of
I mean?
course.
So,
let's continue the Chelsea trends. Clean sheets. I see Courtois.
It's Courtois.
Yeah, from Chelsea.
You know, actually, Joe Hart might challenge, though.
Oh, definitely.
Might challenge.
But I still see Chelsea's back four as way more solid than City's. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hart would have to have a De Gea-like season.
And Courtois has been playing so well in pre-season. I know it's pre-season, but damn, he's been playing well. Scoring penalties and everything.
Definitely. Dude, that's a rocket that he scored. An absolute rocket.
Hart scored one like that, too. It was pretty ridiculous.
So now we'll quickly mention our question of the week. It makes me sad that I have to bring this up 2 weeks after we came out and mentioned serious things on the pod, that we have to talk about serious things again. But
what's the question of the week, bro?
What do you think about the Adam Good situation?
Look, since this
just what do you think?
Okay, no, but like, I could give you a rundown, but since this is AFL and we all know who's the brain behind AFL, all right, I'm just gonna say that I'm on Adam Good's side. Simply put, okay? But I'm going to let you go. Speak on it, man.
Okay. I've been seeing a lot of things on both sides. And look, it's good that we're having a discourse in this country that both sides are being represented. And in my opinion, good things could still come out of this. This is really bringing a lot of attention to the reconciliation, the Indigenous rights sort of movement. So good things could still come out of this. But people who are making arguments against Adam Goods and why he doesn't have a right to complain against all the booing against him. Look, I agree that not all of this booing, not everyone in the crowd is racist. Because in this day and age, not everyone, it would be too disproportionate to see this many fans that have a purely racist motivation. But you can't, if he feels that it's racist, it's his right to say that he feels he's being discriminated against. It's not your right as a straight white male to say you know what is discrimination or not. He's had to go through this his whole life. He's won Australian of the Year. It's amazing that he doesn't get more respect. He is probably the least respected legend in a sport that hasn't actually done anything wrong, that is an advocate for Indigenous rights and human rights. He's a 2-time Brownlow winner, which is the best and fairest. He's a 2-time Premiership winner. He's made 4 All-Australian teams. He's won Australian of the Year. Constant work for the Aboriginal community. An icon as an Aboriginal star. And how is he getting disrespected like this? He is an Australian icon. He should be universally respected. And the people that are coming out and saying, look, we don't like him because his Australian of the Year speech is divisive and he called Australia Day Invasion Day. He did not do that whatsoever. You're taking words and phrases he used out of context. He simply represented the Aboriginal community's thoughts that it is Invasion Day to some Aboriginals. But he also acknowledges that the European culture of this country from the 1700s is to be respected and it is to be celebrated. But you also have to, as part of that, celebrate the 40,000 years that our original residents have been part of this great country. Because it is a great country, but it's almost humbling how little... Sorry, I'm really sick. How little we actually acknowledge the Aboriginal culture of this country unless there's a big event going on. I think anyone who really boos Adam Goods from this point is really just showcasing their bigotry. He's a legend of the game. You're showing huge disrespect to him and the work that he does to the Aboriginal community. And also, just quickly, I want to mention about the spear throwing. When he did the spear throwing, he was already being booed by the crowd. It was during Indigenous round, and it was not. It was aggressive in its acknowledgement, but look, he was being proud of his culture. He was doing a war dance. He was going to a war for his team. And he was being disrespected by other fans. And it's fine that he wants to acknowledge his Indigenous culture during Indigenous round. He doesn't do it every round.
I mean, what's the difference between that and holding up a gun like you're shooting a crowd? Players do that all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So now you're getting into that as well.
Yeah, it's very interesting, to see how, ignorant men can be and just harden up to Adam Goods in an age where we try and acknowledge issues like male depression or male suicide. Where we're saying, open up, tell your feelings more. When he comes out and says, I'm struggling against this constant derision from the crowd, everyone just says, harden up. Harden up. That's not what we want to promote these day and age. We want men to be able to say what they're feeling when they're being discriminated against. I applaud Adam Goods. I'm on his side. I'm excited for when he does come back and he does receive an almost universally positive reaction, except from some idiots.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
That's my thoughts.
That's perfect, man. I think just one more thing, though. You got to remember that, the Aboriginals... They go through so much right now in Australia. They're at a disadvantage.
Exactly, and they're almost being ignored on a national scale. So it's good attention is being brought to the issues, maybe at a cost at this point. But hopefully, in the long term, it's seen as a landmark for hopefully some improvement for Indigenous rights. Sending all our love to Adam Goods. Hopefully, he's coping right now.
I'm sure he is, man. I think he's a strong-minded guy. I think he'll take it on the chin.
In 2015 we will move past this. We're an open-minded enough country that we shouldn't be this blatantly racist going forward. How about our and ones, man? You wanted to quickly mention quite a funny one. I'm just gonna kill you.
Drake, Meek Mill. Excuse Nathan for a little bit. So pretty much, he's leaving me already. All right. So obviously we all know what's going on with Drake and Meek Mill, right? Meek Mill came out and said, Drake doesn't write his own raps. So Drake had to respond, bro. You fired some shots, man. And I like his diss song. I forget what it's called.
Back to back.
Is it back to back?
Back to back like Jordan, 96, 97.
Right. No, he won in 98 too.
Yeah,
so, like
back to back to back.
Back to back to back. And now Meek's diss was absolutely piss poor, bro.
Also, he stole a little bit of a sample from The Undertaker.
I didn't even know about this, so...
So, The Undertaker might do a lawsuit for taking his sample.
Theme song? Now, we've all watched WWE before.
Yeah,
it's
like the old Toll Bells.
Yeah.
It's better than John Cena.
I had no idea that was going on. I'm so glad you told me that, because that just adds another layer of stupidity to Meek's diss.
I love that, like, somewhere in a hotel room, Nicki Minaj is like, "Don't worry, babe, it's your tutu."
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw on Instagram as well, Drake's response. It was just a picture of him laughing. It was classy, it was funny. Yeah. I loved it, man.
Drake comes out on top. Drake comes out on top. We love our beefs here at the No Regard podcast. Speaking of things going on in that sort of community, we're seeing LeBron James did sign a Warner Brothers sort of deal where he could be a mogul. Like, he could be a film mogul. You never know.
So what does that mean, man?
It means Space Jam 2.
Space Jam 2 confirmed?
Space Jam 2 confirmed. Illuminati confirmed. There is a triangle on Bugs Bunny's head.
Do you want that movie to come out?
Okay, look. Space Jam 1, iconic movie.
Yeah.
Good movie? No.
No.
Iconic movie? Yes.
Yeah.
Does it warrant a sequel? Maybe.
I think so.
LeBron?
Why not, man?
LeBron James is a better actor than Michael Jordan.
Yes, for sure.
Not that, that's really hard. Michael Jordan is great.
He just had another film come out. I forget the name, but he's starring in a movie.
Trainwreck. With Amy Schumer and Bill Hader. He cameos in that. From what I've heard, it's not out in Australia quite yet, but apparently he does quite well on it.
Just torrent that shit, guys.
We don't want to endorse that.
I don't know. I might have to cut that out.
No, I'll be excited to see what happens with it. I don't know. If it happens, I'll definitely go see it. But I don't know, man. Like, because the first one, it had some bright moments. One of my favorite moments was when Bill Murray was asking Michael Jordan if he could play NBA basketball, and Bill Murray says, "Oh, is it because I'm white?" And Michael Jordan's like, "No, it's not because you're white." Like, look, Larry's white, and then Bill Murray comes out. Larry's not white. Larry's clear.
Look, like you said, it's an iconic movie. And
so
I'd love to see
if they come out a second one, I'll go see it. Anyway, guys, thankfully I made it through the pod this week.
Is that it? That's the pod.
That's all good this week.
You survived, bro. I'm proud of you, man. Yeah, hey, thank you for doing the pod with us today.
Hey, no worries. I appreciate you coming out in my quarantine state.
I'd have to go into quarantine myself.
Honestly, it did look like a bomb site this morning when I entered the door for you.
Look, when I got to the set and Nathan opened the door,
it's like something out of
Look, one of your eyes was bloodshot red to begin with, okay?
Yeah.
And you look like you had not slept in 3 days. But now look at you, man. Look at the camera, bro. He's looking alright, man. He's looking fine.
Yeah.
He's looking alright.
And before you have to look at this face anymore, just so you know, guys, subscribe to our YouTube page, like it, like our Facebook page, hit us up on Twitter. What's your Twitter?
My Twitter handle is Marcelo Lucha. Yours is
Bleakley.
The Twitter handle for the pod's changed a couple of times. That's my bad.
Not that anyone hits us up on that anyway.
It's No Regard YouTube now, so that'll stay like that. Okay?
Yeah.
Because some bastard's taking that No Regard.
Anyway, show us your thoughts. Tell us your thoughts on the comments at Facebook, guys, or on YouTube. Where do you think who's going to surprise us in the Premier League this season? Who's going to win the Premier League? Who's going to do really well in the Premier League?
By the way, NFL preview's coming at you, and so is AFL.
AFL finals preview coming at you by August, so the end of this month.
Okay.
Anyway, guys, that's the pod. I'm Nathan Bleakley.
I'm Marcelo Lucha.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you. We're like in that age right now where we see women athletes as the same as male athletes, and that's the way it should be, right? So my question is, why shouldn't we rank female athletes with male athletes? And that's where my question stems from today. The question of the week is, where does Serena Williams rank right now in athletes internationally?
Are we talking like her current ability, or